What exactly is the best way to end our first email to a prospect? Should we ask for time right away? Should we try to set up that meeting? Should we do something else? Don't worry, we're going to answer all those questions right now. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Untitled Chapter, aka the best dressed man in tech sales. And in today's video, we're going to talk about a very important topic, which is how we should end our emails. Specifically, we're going to talk about the call to action in our first ever cold outreach email. So what I mean is, when you're reaching out to a new prospect for the first time, how should you end the email? Should you ask for time to meet? Should you try to get something on the calendar? What exactly should you do? Let's go dive into that right now. All right, guys, so if any of you guys watched one of the prior videos from the channel about how to write a prospecting email, one of the components that we shared in that video was not to ask for time in your first email, okay? Meaning that at the very end, we don't want to say, hey, can I get 30 minutes on your calendar? Or can we find some time to chat about this? Or are you open to talking about this? No. Let's chill out with that, all right? What this video is going to be all about is why you should avoid that like the plague and what you should do instead. So in terms of why we shouldn't ask for a meeting right away, guys, there are a couple of reasons that we'll go through. All right, guys, the first reason why I want to avoid asking for time at the end of our first email is because 99% of other sellers are doing it, all right? And why on earth would we want to behave like everybody else? The goal with cold emails, especially with how many emails people get, is to stand out. We want to be differentiated from the pack. So why would we do what 99% of people are doing if we're trying to stand out? It just doesn't make sense. So stop doing it because everybody else is doing it. And if you do it, you're going to sound like everybody else. So stop. Reason number 2, think about your own emails, guys. Let's be super real for a second. If you get an email tomorrow from a company you've never heard about, asking for 30 minutes of your own time, what are you really going to say? Oh, wait, I guarantee a very small percentage of y'all would say yes. Even if it was something that was super interesting to you, most of the time you're probably gonna say no, right? And you're gonna do this because we now have a conditioned response as humans. Whenever we see somebody asking for 30 minutes or an hour of our time, what do we automatically assume? Sales, hello, delete, no, I'm not gonna do that. We automatically look at it as a sales email, guys, okay? So that's how prospects are viewing it too. If you make that ask for 30 minutes at the very beginning of your cold outreach sequence, you are going to be bucketed in as a salesperson. They're going to look at that email and say, sales, delete, buy, right? So we want to avoid that conditioned response by not making the ask for time right away. And then reason number 3, here's the thing, guys, let's be real. If we look at our Salesforce or our CRM, we can probably look and say with confidence that most of the meetings we set up don't turn into closed deals, right? Maybe 40% of them do, maybe 20% of them do. So in most cases, the prospect meetings that we're setting up are probably not with very qualified prospects, meaning that they're not in the best situation to buy or they're not really a good fit. And if we ask for time right away, we are automatically assuming that they are a good fit, and we're actually might be wasting our time with people who aren't a great fit. So instead of asking for time right away, it makes sense to try and do a little bit more discovery through email if possible to understand if the person is really a good fit. All right, so that's the third reason why we want to avoid asking for time, is because it automatically assumes that the prospect is a good fit, and they very well might not be. All right, guys, so now that we talked about the reasons to not ask for time at the very end, let's talk about what you can do instead. So instead of asking for time at the very end of your first email, what you want to do is ask a short, simple question that is easy to reply to. And we want to do this for a couple of reasons. Number 1, it takes minimal effort from the prospect, right? If we ask a question like, has anyone told you about this before? Is this the first time you've heard of this? Are you open to this, right? That's a very simple question to answer. It's a quick yes, no, maybe a little explanation with why, but it's very low effort, right? If we're asking for time to meet, now the prospect not only has to reply to your email, they have to check their calendar. And depending on the kind of person you're reaching out to, checking their calendar and finding some availability and putting that into an email, that's a lot of work. That might take them 5 or 10 minutes to do. So if we can reduce the level of effort necessary to reply, we actually enhance the likelihood of getting a response. Number 2, the second reason why I want to do this is because it's going to help us avoid the connotation of sounding like sales, right? If we don't ask for time and we're just asking a quick or simple question like, has anyone told you about this? They're gonna see us maybe just as a curious person, right? And on our email, they can see our name, who we work for, they can go search us on LinkedIn. So so they can see if we're a salesperson or not, but we're gonna avoid sounding like a salesperson, so we're not gonna get the automatic delete that happens when you typically ask for time. All right, so that's the second reason, guys. You want to avoid sounding like a salesperson and triggering that conditioned response that they normally have when you do ask for 30 minutes of time. Number three, the third reason why I want to do this, guys, is because it actually opens the door for a conversation. And if they reply to that first message, now you've opened the door for a conversation, and you can actually do a little bit more discovery and qualification before you ask for the meeting, right? This is going to help you have more qualified prospects in your meetings because you didn't just blindly take a call with anyone who said yes. You actually did a little bit of digging via email before you scheduled the call. So that's the other reason why I want to go for a reply first as opposed to just asking for a meeting, because that's going to allow us to actually speak with the prospect, do a little bit of discovery, and confirm if they're actually a good fit in the first place. All right, guys, there you have it. That's the rationale for why we should actually aim for a response and just end our emails with a short, simple question as opposed to asking for time. Also, keep in mind, guys, I'm only talking about the first email, okay? Once you're sending more than one email, your follow-up, your third, your fourth, your fifth message, that's okay. You can experiment with asking for time later on in the sequence. But for that first email, the first email they ever get from you, do not ask for time because, again, you're going to condition that triggered response. So again, this is only for the first email that we're talking about. Once you get past the first email, go ahead, knock yourself out, ask for time, but avoid it like the plague on that first email. All right, guys, well, I hope you got some value from this content today. If you did, please hit the subscribe button below. Also, if you're not doing so already, go follow me on LinkedIn. And last but not least, if you're not aware already, go ahead and check out the B2B Syndicate. If you're interested in leveling up as a sales professional, understanding how you can break into tech, what you can do to crush interviews, you're gonna love what we got there. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will catch you all in the next video. Take it easy now.